occasion here at Loose Lugnuts. This is Loose Lugnuts Racing TV. Uh, this is a first for a lot of us. Uh, we're trying to come through and give some alternate opportunities for our drivers. This in no way replaces our Friday night, but welcome everyone. Uh, we have hopefully a decent show here tonight. Uh, if you're unfamiliar with Loose Slug Nuts, we got descriptions for our Facebook page, our website, the League iRacing page. Go check them out. Hit that subscribe button, guys. More guys know, the better. Um, this is really intended for our drivers, their friends, and their families. If we're not looking to branch out anywhere, guys. So anyone out there with their other streaming stuff, don't worry. It's all cool. So, quick history here of Lugnuts, guys. This is we're going on 3 years here, so uh, we're finally reaching a certain plateau here. For those interested racers, like I said, check out those descriptions. Who knows when you might see Loose Lugnuts TV actually broadcast a race? It really depends. We could have next Saturday, next Thursday. If we see a high car count on Wednesday, if we start seeing high car counts in the Bush Series, it all depends on our drivers and what's available for us to do. But introducing here my co-host, we have the champ himself, Wes Holland, and Mr. Bad Bob Wells. And welcome, guys.
How's it going, Jeff?
Oh, thank you for having me, Jeff.
Yeah, guys. So kicking this off, I mean, Wes, you know, we've talked about it a little bit. I'm sure some drivers will be happy with this news, but I think you may be joining us in the booth if we go and start broadcasting Saturday nights. So tell us about that, man.
Yeah, man. Honestly, just decided to take a night off racing and help out with this whole Loose Lugness TV deal. So, I mean, I'm excited. I love racing, but I want to try something different. So I'm gonna go ahead and join you guys up in the booth on looks like to be Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have you transitioning over into the booth on Saturday nights. Bob may join, Bob may not join. We don't know, but I'm sure we'll see Bob in the booth on some nights. Hopefully, in the winner's circle now that you're not there. So, yeah, like I said, my other co-host here, Bob, been transitioning into a admin role in hopes of and anticipation of getting Loose Nuts TV up and going. So, uh, give us a rundown on what you see with that and what you look forward to with that.
Just looking forward to having, continue what you have going on and having a lot of good times, on the track. Kind of, overseeing the whole deal on Wednesdays with the road course racing. I've also set up something on dirt rally for the guys, and been helping out with Saturdays and stuff, and just having a lot of fun with it. Trying to, help make the race, as competitive as possible.
Yeah, I did forget to get the logo, guys, here for our race schedule, but Bob, give us a quick overall rundown of that.
For which series?
Oh, name them all, man. Name them all.
All right. Well, Wednesday night we have the Cadillac on the road course. We have a few more events there. Thursdays is the truck night. Um, Pretty good schedule over there as well. Friday night's our bump and run series. On Saturday night we have the Bush Late Model series, um, which is running the same track schedule as the bump and run series, but using the late model. And that was a lot of fun this week. It's a pretty good racy car to have fun with. and Xfinity cars, of course, Saturday nights. So we got a lot going on. Dirt Rally events going on over there in the background. Got 7 signed up over there. It looks like now, so that's getting there.
Yeah, I mean, we got a long line of stuff here. We just opened some of those the Wednesday Thursday deals. Redid the Bush series on Saturdays to add a little bit of excitement. So yeah, guys, like Bob said, there's a lot of stuff out there for our racers, and hopefully soon enough for our friends and family that want to tune in and cheer on, watch, rewatch the races, whatever the point is. This here is for loose lug nuts. But going back to my buddy Wes here, you've done podcasts before. You've been with Loose Lug Nuts, John Hedrick himself since God when. Tell us the story about that.
Ah, geez, man. I think I started with John and his N360RL league back in, I think, late 2008, maybe 2009 on the Xbox. It was NASCAR '09, and I just been stuck with this league. I mean, wherever he makes a league at, I find a way to join it. So I've won plenty of stuff in all these game simulators that I've raced in, and I'm doing pretty well to my standards in this loose lug nuts deal. So
Yeah, I mean you've had great success. At least as long as I've been sim racing with you on iRacing here. So I mean, if you have any hints and suggestions, because I know a lot of guys can get frustrated with the amount of time they fall behind on you. What would you say you would give suggestion wise to any driver out there?
I mean, geez, man, just the amount of time that I've put in over the last 6 7 years just in racing games. I mean, it doesn't. I'm not gonna say it transfers over from playing it on a controller going to the simulator style deal that we do now, but it's just time. I mean, I've put in a lot of time in figuring tracks out and figuring lines out, and it's not easy. I mean, when people watch the broadcast and see that I'm out 2.5 seconds or whatever it is in the races that we're in, it's not like it's easy for me to go out there and do that. It's still a challenge. You still get wore out on these things. I mean, the biggest thing is just you got to get on here and put in time. Go out there and practice whenever you find practice sessions or race official stuff. It just I feel like it's over time a grace period is where you learn how to run on this stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's all about time there, Wes. Moving over to Bob. So, Bob, tell us a quick story like Wes is there on how you came to Loose Lug Nuts and you know how it's developed into what I would like to say your league here at Loose Lug Nuts.
Well, somebody told me about him. I was running a hosted room or another league or something. I heard about him, and it's probably been like a year now that I've been a member. I've gotten a few wins. I've actually beaten West Holland. Um, got a series championship as well. Um, of course, West took one race off, but that helped. But it's a lot of fun running over here. A lot of good times. A lot of exciting things going on this year, 2017.
Yeah, just as a note for our viewers out there watching, if you have any audio or issues that you're seeing, give me a little type there in chat. You may hear John poking me once in a while. For some reason, that's still showing up, but yeah, let me know if the sound's improved or whatnot. But yeah, we just heard Bob and Wes talk about their iRacing uh, uh, his their iRacing careers as a comparison to see how dominant or at least how long Wes has been in the league. As of end of last night, that would make Wes's win totals at 35 wins and 14 Bush Series wins. And the Bush Series is just brand new itself too. So uh,
It's not easy. I mean, it
it
sounds like obnoxious numbers to the the races we run in this series because I don't know what I run 3 nights a week, 2 nights a week, something like that. I mean, it's still not easy. I mean, there's plenty of guys out here that can beat me each and every week, and I mean, I get on here to try to win, and I'm not happy if I don't, but I mean, I like to see all these guys around me. I mean, they've gotten better. I've seen Jeff get 1,000 times better. Bob has learned a bunch from me, and I learned from them too. I mean, you know, it's all a learning curve between people. Once you race with somebody for long periods of time, you figure out what they're doing, they figure out what you're doing. It just makes each other better.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. I mean, I probably ran 320 races this year. Put a lot of time into it, and that's where all the improvement comes from.
Yeah, the sim world is not easy. It's not picking up a controller and you push your finger left and you go around the corner. It's not that. I mean, I'm sure both these guys in here will tell you that I mean, it does wear you out. I mean, you go down, you do 150 laps at Richmond, and yeah, I mean, you're fighting a wheel that's fighting you back, and I mean, it takes some time to get used to you know dealing with fighting a wheel and dealing with other drivers on the track with you.
Just when you get the driving figured out, they go and they give us a new tire build, or they change the dynamic track some, or they do this and that, and then you have to go through the process of continuing to work at it to get it figured out again.
Yeah, guys, tons of info there. I mean, Wes hit on a good point, I think, and that little banter back and forth. He mentioned the wheel. So real quick, between the two of you, I know I started out. The first race I ever did on iRacing, I came from console, and I was like, you know what, controller. That's what I got. I quickly found out that that does not work in this sim world. Then I get a Logitech Genius, and it worked, but then, it, but tell people out there that have that low wheel or what they need to do to compensate for the guys that have the G29s, the Fanatecs, and all that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, the same exact story. I came straight from running with John, his leagues on console, and came straight over with a wired Xbox controller. Got on here, ran, I don't know, 15 or 20 official rookie series street stock races with a controller, spinning out, hitting the wall, killing other drivers, getting cussed out on the radio, and finally just got on Amazon, found the Driving Force GT for like 110 bucks or something like that, and grabbed that. Didn't think I was going to be any good on the wheel because I mean my whole time racing with the N360 RL stuff on Xbox, I didn't have no wheel. I mean other guys did, but I thought it was a dumb concept that you're acting like you're in a car, but you weren't really in a car. So, but yeah, I got my Logitech wheel and use that for I don't know the last 2.5 years, and just now upgraded to the G27. And I mean it's day and night from each wheel that you get. I mean it's a new learning curve, and honestly you feel better at it once you have a different wheel from the last one. So yeah, I mean starting at a controller wasn't bad, but stepping up to the wheel, now you just want a new wheel every time. Every time you get used to the new wheel you get, you want that next level up. And I mean, honestly, I think it makes me better to have the different style wheels that I've had.
Yeah, the driving force GT that you spoke of, that's what I run. I think that's a great beginner wheel. I got mine for like 80 bucks refurbished. So for those that think that having a G29 is going to make you the fastest all the time, I do pretty good with a beginner wheel.
Yeah, I mean, I've upgraded to the G29 myself. I had the G27, so basically, guys out there in the league, not in the league, so be it. Start out at what's financially comfortable for you, but if you can, I personally am on the bandwagon of the wheel will make you better as a driver. The better the wheel, the better you can adjust and control your car. So, uh, thanks guys for that input. But you know, Bob also mentioned we got the dirt rally going. He set up a little league there on the PC model of it. But iRacing made its announcement pre uh, season end that they were not going to be bringing dirt racing to us. Something that I know sim racers around the world have been waiting for years, and Easter eggs, and all the little April Fool's jokes that went out with it. And now we gotta wait a whole nother season. Uh, I mean, I'm excited for it. Let's. I'm sure y'all are excited, but tell us about maybe your dirt career, seeing dirt, uh, anything. I mean, it, something that will, if iRacing's listen to this, make them get it out faster.
Get the show on the road. Let's do it. I mean, but I don't want it if it isn't right yet either. So if they need more time to work on it, then they can go ahead and keep it until it's right.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, we don't want that whole dirt scene to come out and it not be the right thing that everybody wants, because then you're learning this new thing that they just brought out, and then they start doing major changes on it, and then you're learning a completely different scenario. It's just, I mean, I'd rather wait the longer time and have it right than to rush it out and be stuck with something we ain't gonna like or we're not gonna want to run.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up around dirt myself, local short tracks in the state of Florida, so I'm eagerly anticipating this dirt release. A little bit disappointed that they went with a fourth car rather than a third track. So I mean, they got the help from Uno trying to get the modeling down. They got Eldora. I think someone else can tell me the other track real quick.
I believe it's Williams Grove.
Yeah, oh yeah, the cookie cutter. Well, not cookie cutter, but very narrow
Super
banking and
flat, yeah.
super flat. God, a West kind of track, I would say.
I don't know about on dirt though.
Yeah. So I mean, I would like to see in a third track. I'm always looking for new tracks, even on the pavement. Shoot, we've been racing. Like I said, Loose Lugnuts been up on iRacing for 3 years now. Um, we really haven't seen anything as of late past Southern National, and the road course guys get everything, in my opinion. Cars, tracks, it's all them. But there's a ton of dirt tracks. Go ahead and name a few guys that you would like to see. Maybe your local tracks, maybe even one of those national tracks that get up on broadcasted events.
I mean, I would always like to see my home tracks, of course. So I'd want to see Paris Auto Speedway on there, but I mean, there's so many different dirt tracks out there. That's what's gonna bring this to iRacing. This is what's gonna be great. Is there's so many different tracks that they can bring dirt to, and allow us to try to run tracks that are out there that maybe people don't know about.
Yeah, there's like a few like New England tracks I'd like to see is like Thunder Road, uh, which would be different from a lot of the short track stuff we have. It's all quarter mile, but it's fairly high bank. There's that Winchester track, which would be another great short track for some of our series.
Yeah, and the great thing looking at it, because I don't mind a super speedway every now and again. Loose Lug Nuts is known for hitting up the super speedway probably about once a month. So outside of Eldora, I can't really think of a track where it is literally hammered down. Maybe looking at Volusia with a bigger bank corners or something
Maybe
like
like a
that.
Knoxville.
Yeah, and I guess Knoxville would fall under the hammer down type of track, but if you really look at it, if they wanted to add tracks, it really fits the loose lug nut style of racing. There's not a lot of things you gotta lift. You gotta get into your corners. You gotta get your line. Even in dirt racing versus oval paved racing, uh, the more short tracks out there that they could scan and put into the sim, I think would be better. But it's a wait and see at this point. We got the dirt street stock, dirt late model, the winged sprint car, and I think a non-wing 410 now.
Yeah, I'll also give a shout out to Travis Zudemeyer there. He named another good one, the Charlotte Dirt track.
Yep, that very good high banking. You can get up there, run the berm at that track. But uh, you do got to start somewhere, John. It's just we're eagerly anticipating this iRacing. So please get it right, and hopefully looking into more tracks would be the optimal performance. And speaking of tracks, Wes, I did mention that you are the flat track master. Phoenix, Richmond, New Hampshire. I know Bob's not gonna like that, but New Hampshire, you seem to get that 7 second lead on second place within the first 40 to 50 laps. Um, Go ahead, Bob and Wes here. Name some of your favorite tracks on iRacing, and probably add the specific car in there too if it does matter.
I mean, I don't know how many of those you didn't name off that are my favorite tracks, but the flatter tracks, I'm more acquainted to Richmond, Phoenix, the flatter style tracks. Martinsville, I like. I haven't really been all that successful in iRacing, at least. I mean, I've won a couple of them, but I've always liked that track. And of course, my hometown track, Auto Club. I don't think I've done very well there either, but still love that track.
And I pretty much like every track I could beat Wes at. I do like Phoenix, just like Wes. I'm sure a lot of the guys after Saturday night are probably not the biggest fans of that place. On the road racing side, Watkins Glen and the Daytona Road Course are a couple I like. Iowa's a great track, very conducive to good racing there. Still chasing for a win there. Hopefully, I'll get one in 2017. Um, so, Wes, what tracks are you slow at? I think is what everybody wants to hear.
Yeah, Wes, do tell which tracks are you not good at, or which car? Tell us which one so we can form up a series under that suggestion.
I don't know if I want to talk about all that right now. I mean, there's nothing. Honestly, I don't think there's anything out there that I don't like. There's some cars that I struggle in, or I just don't get the line in. But I mean, everything that iRacing brings to us, besides maybe road course cars, I can't stand any of the road course stuff. But everything they have on the oval side, I mean, I have no issues with. I love racing that, and th- not very many tracks out there besides road courses that I don't know outside the what at NASCAR actually runs. But I mean, everything on here is just so on point with what the tracks are in real life, and I feel like I'm actually at the track when we're running there. So uh, it's exciting. I like everything that iRacing brings to us and everything this league brings to us. The different series that we run and all that.
I'll tell you, Wes, you know, you have a lot of wins, way more than I do, but I had a pretty good year in 2017. But one win that stands out for me is finally getting one at Darlington. That's definitely a driver's track. It's very challenging and demanding. But out of all your wins, there's got to be at least one that stands out as a big one for you.
I'd probably say back to a couple weeks ago. I think me and you ran a deal and it was at Pocono in the Cup car, and I've just never been able to drive that track with the car that we have in the sim, and to be able to do it the way I did it, I mean that stands out. That's one of those hard driver tracks. I mean, you can slip up in any one of those turns and be done. It'd be your race done with. So, yeah, Pocono. I mean, Pocono's that's a hard one to win at.
Yeah, that's and Pocono is another one I definitely enjoy. Um, and it's a place where I got my first ever trucks win in the official series. So it's always a special one to go to and try to get another one. You know.
Yeah, still on the line of Wes here. John coming in from YouTube land out there. How is your view on the DW12, Wes? Is it a strong car, or is it just that the tracks we pick inside the league that give the opportunity for anyone to win?
No, man, he would ask that question, right? I've never been a fan of that car. It doesn't matter what track it's at. I just can't drive it. It's just there's no fenders on it. I can't lean on anything. I mean, it's don't get me wrong, it's a fun car to drive, but I haven't ever got a handle on it. I just don't like it. I don't care for it. I choose not to run it.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm
there's
gonna
other
go with
cars. There's other cars out there like no fender cars. We want to go that route. I know you haven't had much seat time in the sprint car, but you've done some modified racing. Loose Lugnuts in the past has been known for its Silver Crown schedule. Uh, I mean, you've been pretty decent in the Silver Crown, but with those cars, any offer any opportunities for the other drivers out there?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of guys out there that could run those things and probably, kick my butt every week in them. They're fast, and I think they're just a little too fast for the kind of moves I make. And I'm sure anybody that's ever watched me knows what I'm talking about when I say that. So that's just the reason that I don't care for them. It's just they're a driver car, and it's you make mistakes in those things, and you pay for those mistakes big time.
So what I just heard was Wes just said sorry for the people he wrecked in Silver Crown. That's what I heard. So
Pretty much.
well, I embrace the idea of somebody being able to beat West finally. It won't be me and those guys. I'm no good with them. Um, I'd rather do something more fun if we're gonna do something like that, like a Pro Mazda. But that could be a lot of fun. But also with that IndyCar action.
yeah, I mean John's out there threatening DW12 already, Wes. He's heard
Yeah, I know.
he has heard that may be a future threat. But uh, we've been on this little tirade of stop West, stop West. What can we do to stop West? I mean, if any driver out there uh, that can coalesce with the league and the drivers that we have currently, come on in, guys. Sign up. Uh, I mean, I'm at that point to where I'm on Wes's bumper, and but I haven't, been able to push it over the top. Uh, Bob, you've beaten Wes yourself in a few races. It's probably the same same feeling. So you know those drivers out there. I mean, we have a couple guys that race part time with us right now. We have guys from Southeast Motorsports, Dustin Lee. He's been in the last couple races with us. He's fast. He won All Star Night, super late models, or it might have been the B car. I can't really remember. But you know, we have part time drivers that I would really like to see become, even if it's just for a series, guys. Full time drivers for that series. Come out there, try to beat Wes. I mean, please. If you're not gonna beat Wes, run a certain line to that I can see, so I can beat Wes. I'm sure Bob, you're much as me. You want to beat the top dog, and right now it's Wes.
Oh, certainly. I mean, almost every week. He's fastest on the practice chart and the right up there on the pole. He's going to have a tough 2017 with all these new guys coming up. It's not going to be a cakewalk anymore, Mr. Holland. And I'm
Oh
going to
no,
be
I mean,
I'm going to be better, as I continue my aggressive schedule. And you're going to have to watch out for that Gas Monkey Garage truck on track this year for sure.
true that. I mean, I don't look for it to be a cakewalk either. So, I mean, I encourage, I mean, all these new guys to come in here and like Jeff said, Dustin Lee and Mitchell Reeves and, Nick Reynolds, all them guys over there. I mean, all
Yeah,
the guys that have been showing up and racing with us, I want them to stick around. I mean, it makes for good racing and it makes me be on my toes. And those guys are, just as fast or not faster than me. So,
yeah, and you got look at the Covingtons. I mean, what do those people got in the well water or something over there makes them fast on iRacing? Because they're all really good.
the whole family's good. I mean,
You got
geez.
Tribble. He's pretty good. One of our new guys, Steve Thompson. He's really fast.
Yeah, Bob, you kind of segued into it, but we got some real up and comers, guys that are dipping their toes into loose lug nuts here. I touched on it. Really, the guy that stands out that has gone from zero to hero, in my opinion, Mr. Dustin Covington, 24 car out there now. Yeah, I mean, he started off really, really rough. No,
Yeah, he
no
started
seat
bad.
time, no seat time. More seat time he got, more tracks he acquired, and was able to get out there and run. I, I would unofficially put him as the most improved driver in loose lug nuts here.
Yeah, that guy made me earn that win, last night in that Bush Series race. So yeah, he's definitely not to be overlooked. He's fast and he's learned it in a short period of time. I mean, he's only ran a handful of races with us, and he's super quick already. So it should be fun to watch that guy, see what he does in this next season coming up.
Yeah, he recently. I don't recall which track, Jeff. You probably do, but he got the track 5 minutes before the race, 30-minute practice, and he won. And he did very well in that race. That was really impressive.
Yeah, I think it was our first truck race there at Auto Club. Mr. Dustin Covington there went and bought the track 5 minutes. We have 30-minute practice sessions usually before those race nights. So he got 30 minutes of practice, uh, and then I think he might have put down fast time if I'm wrong, if West didn't, but you know he the kid went out there and like I said he roughed a couple feathers coming in, beating his car up, over driving corners, but either learning from his dad and his brother, or racing with his buddies there. Uh, he's every track he steps into now, he has the potential to top five it and possibly steal a win.
Yeah, I mean, he's like I said, he's up top up there. He went out there and won the what was it, the Turkey Dega that John had put on over there.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Shoot, we ran the Turkey Dega that night. I think we had 13 drivers, and it's always difficult at Talladega. Uh, you could get wrecked, you could not. The situation arises, but if you find yourself there, and what Loose Lug Nuts did along with Dustin took home the win. Probably, I can't name another time that we've gone over to that league and on their special event nights and won a race. So I mean, we took home the win, and Loose Lug Nuts as a team went 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So obviously a great night behind Dustin Covington.
And it's definitely, I mean, we're talking Talladega trucks, but I mean, those guys push 40 plus truck fields over there. And I mean, it's not easy to win any of those races. I've been there plenty of times, finished second, been up front. It's not easy. It's just not easy to win them at all.
Yeah. Uh, Beyond Dustin Covington, I know we just gave him a huge shout out, but uh,
He deserves
I
it.
yeah,
know.
he deserves
You
it,
better let me
guys.
pass him next race for that shout out.
Yeah, and
Free passes.
you heard it, Dustin. You got to give Bob the free pass,
Just on the
but
last lap.
but beyond Dustin, I mentioned a few. Who else do we look
Well,
at
we
for
got
up and coming?
Kent Connolly. He had a strong run going in that Cadillac race. Um, he's a really good oval racer too. So he's going to be tough in trucks. He's another good one.
David Johnson. I mean, he was one of the league admins over there on console with all of us, me, John, everybody that ran over there, and he finally switched over to iRacing, did real well in that street stock series, and I think he ran a couple of the late model deals too.
Hey, you got Zach Boyer that just joined us. He's been running some other league stuff. I know he's done a lot of short track stuff, so he's somebody that's you're gonna probably see in the top 10.
Yeah, there there's a lot of comers. I see one out there right now that John's mentioned on YouTube is AJ Brissett with the Driven Motorsports team.
True that.
He he came in to Loose Lugnuts with the bump and run street stock series, and I believe got a top three in points with picking up a win. He didn't pick up a win this past series, but again finished top three in points. So I
And he earned my first championship too over there in the street stock series. He was like 5 points or something like that going into the last race. He was battling me in that loose lug nut street stock series. So him and his whole team, I mean, those guys they're definitely something to watch.
yeah,
Yes, definitely driven. But we talk about some of the new guys. I want to talk about one of the old guys, probably the oldest in the league, which was the Hornet. What that guy shows unbelievable sportsmanship, and that is one fast 70-year-old guy.
Yeah, that guy's. I've got nothing but respect for that dude.
I don't think he gets mad. I've never heard him mad.
I don't think he has either. I don't know if I've ever done anything wrong to him, or maybe I have, and he just holds it back.
yeah. I mean,
Well, they do call you Wreckham.
yeah, Wrecking West Holland there. And another beautiful segue. Thank you for that. Uh, we're we racing rivals. Wes has collected quite a few racing rivals. You know, I'm on the admin side of it a little bit, so maybe that's where some people don't agree with me, like me, whatever the case is. I'm shedding a tear right now, but uh, Wes or Bob, either be it close racing that always seems to happen, or the one guy that you can get pissed off at for like a week, and then next week he comes out and uh, you run incredibly well with it. Try to give me something along that line.
I mean, gosh, here we go again. I'm gonna have to think of names.
Yeah, well, I can think of
It's been
one. I can think of
I could
one.
I could tell you my rival is it's Wes. I mean, we're good friends, but when I'm racing Wes for a position, um, there's definitely a little bit more desire there to get by him. When I'm clinging on to the lead lap and he's the leader, which seems to happen more often than not. I'm gonna hang on to the lead lap as long as I can. I don't make things easy for Wes for sure.
No, and like I said before, I don't expect these guys to pull over for me when you're a race car, you're on the racetrack, you try to stay in your position or you're trying to stay on the lead lap. You don't just give up unless you have circumstances where you're damaged or you're not competitive. But I mean, I don't expect it from anybody to be just let by and just be on my merry way.
Yeah, and Jeff, you spoke to getting mad. That happens all the time. It's real competitive racing. We have a lot of really talented guys out here. I mean, I'm guilty. That's Jonathan Smith. We got into it a little bit Friday night, but and he knew I was bad, and but we got over it. We didn't bring a caution flag out over getting over it or anything like that. So
And hey, I've been there many a times with all kinds of drivers in this league, and we don't always agree on something, and it hurt feelings go on for weeks, and we end up getting each other back, and but I still respect all these dudes that I've raced hard or have had incidents with. I try to let last week be last week, and I go out there and race them the same I would any other day.
Yeah, and you're always going to have something happen. You're always going to have rivals, and that's a good thing. It means that you're trying and you're fast.
I'm sure my number one is Thomas Axum. I'm sure that's what Jeff was thinking. Either that or good old Nick Reynolds.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the line of Nick Reynolds based on recent activity. Um, yeah, I'm glad you hid behind the bush there and named some names for a little bit, but
Yeah,
uh,
I've
it,
had some issues with him. I mean, yeah, he's a good competitor, and we're both fast, and we don't like to try to let each other by, and that's just how it goes. I mean, you get into a hard race with somebody, you get into them, it's going to be a racing deal, and someone's going to be upset about it, not think it was so much of a racing deal, and that's just how things escalate. And then you deal with who's going to wreck who next. So I mean, we've had our number of incidents, and like I said before, we don't always agree on anything. We'll be pissed off and both leave the room and team speak, and there won't be a conclusion to it. But I mean, I raced him a couple weeks ago, and we both raced hard, and we didn't have any issues. So
yeah, one that reared its little ugly head the start of this last Super Late Model Series. We had two guys we've already mentioned, uh, Jason Covington and AJ Brissett, get into it in that first Charlotte race, and then we go down to one of the shorter short tracks on the schedule at New Smyrna, and it's just it developed, but those guys found out that they were so equally competitive that it turned into something at least great towards the end of the season. They were battling for the third, fourth spot in points and third, fourth spot in race. So you know,
yeah, and they
it's
got over it, and they raced each other clean the rest of the season, and bygones be bygones. They made their little paint schemes with their tore up fenders and their cool little logos they put on them, and I mean, it turned out to be a cool little rival that we've seen there.
yeah, and that's good as long as it gets solved. Guys want to carry on, and they probably should go race somewhere else.
yeah. I mean, there's only so much you can take on track at any given point of over a period of time. Uh, Not necessarily the rivalry itself, but the on the track incidents. I like Wes said he's been a part of them, but they last one or two races. Wes can still be mad. His other competitor could still be mad. So you know, um,
Definitely tension on track. I mean, it's you're out there racing, you're having fun, but there's still you're gonna have that tension on track. You're gonna want to win. Of course, you want to win. That's what you want to do, and sometimes it does build tension. And I've flipped out and caused issues before, and took time. Just took myself away from the league and said, "Hey, I'm gonna take a break, and I don't want to cause any more issues. This is just gonna get out of control because I'm just upset to the point where I can't do it any longer."
Yeah, and like in a Friday night series, we got 15 guys that could win. And it's real competitive, so there's going to be a lot of close corners, beat up sheet metal, bumper banging, and that kind of thing.
yeah. So I mean, guys, that's basically a loose lug nuts there. I mean, there's a ton of racing now. We've gone from one night a week at the beginning to two nights for the longest time, and now we've really opened it up. We're trying to offer our racers here some great opportunities from road racing. Bob set up the rally dirt car series off of the PC. So uh, we're running another super late model series. We got the Xfinity car on Saturday night, the Busch series. I mean, there is a ton of stuff. If you're in the league, you're wanting in the league, and you're wanting some stuff to race, we have it here. And we're not always going to stick with the same things. Give or take, Thursday's going to be trucks. So, but beyond that, it's flexible. We've been known in the past to run a wild series starting with street stock and ending at a car. It has happened. So uh, that's out there for those guys. Just very recently, moving on to real racing here. We had another NASCAR champion, a seven-time Jimmy Johnson. Uh, Tony Stewart retired. Tons of Tony Stewart fans out there. I respect the guy. Uh, um, guys, comment on here. We're seeing NASCAR into another sponsor transition. Jimmy Johnson's really ran away with the league over the last decade and a half. So uh, it, let's go into the real side. Give us your favorite driver, your views on where you think NASCAR is gonna head into the future. Where do you think it needs to go?
Well, I'm going to echo Wes's favorite guy there. Kevin Harvick said some time ago that they need to shake up the schedule, and I think that's something that NASCAR really needs to look at doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know. It's gotten crazy over the last couple of years. They're just trying to make it, a fan sport, and they're trying to make their whole championship deal to where, the fans are more involved in it. That's why we went to this whole playoff schedule, and I think it's gotten a little hectic in the last 4 or 5 years with all the championship scenarios, the way they want it to play out. So I mean, I hope they do something. I mean, as much as they're trying to bring in fans, I think they're starting to drive some away with the way that they're setting up this whole. I mean, when you're a fan of a driver and then your driver doesn't make it out of the chase or into the chase, but has a phenomenal year before the chase. I mean, it gets rough to be a fan when you don't ever get to see your driver be on that side of the deal.
So what I'm getting off of that little conversation, they're not rewarding consistency like they did in the past with the Winston Cup points frame there that they had. They're rewarding drivers for a short term uh, run. If you can win in the chase, or if you could win that one race to get in the chase, and then find and pick your favorite tracks, as Wes said or Bob said, shaking up the schedule might help a little bit, so you don't have time to plan. Oh, like we know Richmond's this time of year, so we know we can top five and get a win or something like that. They're really not adding the competitive atmosphere beyond 10 or 12 drivers, whatever the chase format is now.
Yeah, well, the chase, is exciting to watch. From a driver's perspective, it's got to be hard to go through. As I'm with Wes, you look at Dale Earnhardt Sr. He won his championships based on the whole season's races, 32, 34 race season, not just over having a decent run, the first half of the year and getting in, and then three good races, and then you go to one, and you know you never know what happens in racing.
Exactly. And I mean, it's for those drivers, it's not like it's a super challenge to make it into the chase. For the competitive guys, all you have to do is win one race and then finish top 35 in points within a 26 race period. You have to win one out of 26 and be top 35 in points. So you have to average like a 20th or 25th every week after a win. I just don't understand that whole concept of it.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there, Wes. You said those guys that can be competitive. We have really seen outside of the powerhouse teams of Roush Fenway, Hendrick Motorsports, Stuart Haas. I know I'm forgetting guys, but uh, those teams in general are got the best machine parts, or they've circled the market inside of NASCAR to where they're going to be the most competitive racers out there. You don't see these one car teams with a budget that can race maybe half schedule, or if they had the opportunity to race the full schedule, they're not competitive enough to make the next race. Is there anything NASCAR can do to eliminate that or move back to the old, not necessarily the old way, but get those guys that don't have the big bucks into NASCAR so we can see those awesome short track drivers transition?
Uh, Honestly, I don't think there's a way you're ever going to get these guys that are, transferring from truck to Xfinity and then Xfinity to Cup Series. I don't think they're ever going to get those guys to be, like a championship team unless they're with a caliber team like, Hendrick or Stewart Haas, like you said, or, Penske. It's just not going to happen. Those guys are there's too much development in those teams, and they've been around for so long. It's just there's so much money involved into how they make those cars fast, and on top of it, the drivers that they have. I mean, there's no way you can beat that kind of stuff, or even make it into a 14 car field in the chase when you have 12 of those drivers are those guys on those competitive teams.
Yeah, and I think I don't see it ever being that equal because as far as the high dollar and low dollar teams, because of aerodynamics, that's added so much cost to racing. Getting these cars to drive the way they do, just stuck to the ground.
Yeah, you're never gonna. You just it takes so much money to do it, and those guys are getting a chance on those low budget teams to be out there and try to make a name for themselves. But to an extent, there's no more they can do with a race car that they've been given if there's not the kind of money that's spent with all those high dollar teams on their equipment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really in tuned with the actual NASCAR. It's kind of dysfunctional for me in a way. I haven't been watching it as consistently as I did in my childhood, but uh, the one driver that probably stands out for maybe not necessarily a low budget team, but a team that came up and that finally got himself a competitive driver that's been around a bit was Martin Truex Jr. He had a great year and he won some races and made a shot towards the championship there.
Yeah, and that guy's doing it with a team that's a single car team. Of course, they got on the coattails of JGR, but I mean, even that team is still ran out of a completely different state than all the other, whatever 40, 42 teams that are out
Yeah,
there
most
running.
most of them run out of North Carolina, don't they?
Yep, and that team's the only one that's running it outside of North Carolina. They're in Denver, Colorado, and I mean, the way that they're doing it is, that's what we want to see. But it's just what they had to do was to, the same thing that a lot of the other teams do. They go and get, a chassis or engine equipment from the high dollar teams, and that's how they form an alliance through a big team that they know is competitive.
Yeah, and I've always felt Martin was a very talented racer, but he's never been in a grade car until now. He's always been in a B grade car, the top 20, 15 type of team, as opposed to a car that can consistently run right in the top five every week. And that's been a big part of it. But he's always been a great driver behind the wheel.
Yeah, and he proved it this past season. I mean, did a great job.
Yeah, out there in YouTube, Travis Zudema, our boss here, John. John says Bush, Kurt Busch did a great job, and the same team. maybe it's the team. Maybe they offer that opportunity.
Yeah, he did pretty good. Apparently, not having that assassin girlfriend around really helped out his efforts.
Golly, Bob. Travis Zudema named a great young rookie from this year. I think he had a chance to win the Daytona 500. He was up there leading uh, Talladega, some other tracks possibly that I'm forgetting, but Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, definitely with Ryan. His dad, Dave Blaney, he was a great sprint car racer. So I've always kind of kept an eye on what he's been doing. And, I hate to bash on Ford, but this will make Alan Matting happy. But the Ford team's clearly not equal with the Chevy and Toyotas. Um, but he's done very well considering he is driving a Ford.
Yeah, I mean, we look at it. Hendrick obviously dominating the Chevys. Stuart Haas getting was getting. We'll get to that in a second, but was getting their equipment from Hendrick Motorsports. Toyota and their I guess turned out to be a great NASCAR engine program. Really branched out. JGR. Uh, obviously, the other teams had to then buy it from them. But we've really seen the decline of Roush Fords. They lost a long time driver in Greg Biffle. Maybe it was the time to go. Maybe it wasn't. We'll find out next year if he gets a ride. But Stuart Haas transitioning over to Ford. I mean, my perspective on that is that they're matching the rest of Stewart's motors out there for uh, the rest of his competition that he has around the world. So I mean, they're either gonna have to build their own motors or uh, buy them from Roush Fenway. So you know, we're looking at a team that is dominant with Kevin Harvick right now. Uh, it's just, can they be that same competitive team with new motors?
Yeah, I mean, that's a soft subject for me. I've been a Harvick fan since '02. I watched him waste plenty of time with RCR when clearly he was a better driver than what the equipment was allowing him to do, and to now see him switch over to Ford, I mean, I don't know what to expect from that. You do have Joe Logano and Brad Keselowski, which are really tough guys to beat, and they show that Fords are still fast, and of course Ryan Blaney, quick driver. It's just that whole Roush team. I mean, we haven't proved anything in a long time, and I guess we'll just have to see what entails with this whole Stewart Haas Racing taking over that Ford emblem and seeing what kind of equipment they get now.
Yeah, you mentioned Logano and his teammate there doing well in the Fords, but do we over associate uh, Ford with Roush Fenway Racing? Do they have to be competitive themselves to have the Ford name out there?
Yeah, honestly, I don't even I hate talking about that subject because I just think it's a fairy tale. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to see my driver over there because it's just, you've seen how dominant Chevy's been, over the past 10 years, how many, wins and championships Jimmy Johnson's had and Jeff Gordon. And it's just, gosh, to see that. And then we have Toyota now with Joe Gibbs. And I just don't see Ford coming up with something that's going to be competitive with those two teams.
You never know though. They could come out with a good engine next year, and with the engine rules, the template rules, and everything, all these cars are theoretically, same performance wise. So he could be right there, with the new engine package, and if they get that right.
Yeah, I agree, Bob. Theoretically is the exact adjective to use in that situation when talking about these super teams. But back out there in YouTube, we're seeing maybe a Dodge comeback. I've heard rumors of Audi trying to muscle in on NASCAR and get in maybe on the truck or the Xfinity side. So What do we think about that? I mean, it's not the same Dodge anymore. They're an Italian-owned company, so different style building of motors. So, what do we see maybe in the future of that?
I think it'd be a good thing. The more manufacturers involved, it's more money into the sport, and widens the audience base as well. You bring Audi or Honda even to the sport. They reach out to probably a slightly different demographic than a Chevy or Dodge or Ford person.
Yeah, we've seen what Honda's done with the Izod series. They have plenty of Indy cars out there that run Honda deals in them. So I mean, we let Toyota in. I don't see that we're gonna stop any other manufacturer to come in. If they have the money, that's what NASCAR is looking for. I mean, it might bring a whole different you know spectrum to NASCAR if more teams start or more manufacturers start coming in and making teams.
Yeah, I mean, I as a kid watching, Pontiac was still a major car manufacturer under the GM branch. So, it, it's always good to see those uh, companies coming in. Bob said if you bring in the European manufacturers or the Japanese manufacturers, you bring somewhat of a fan base that want to see those manufacturers succeed, and maybe they bring in a specialized driver for that uh, revolutionizes the sport itself. So there's a lot of things to look forward to NASCAR. Uh, Coming in 2017. Shakeups, moves, bunch of stuff. But guys, I really do appreciate this evening with you at Loose Lugnuts TV, first podcast. Uh, we've had guys out there on YouTube all evening. It's been a hell of a time. Just a quick wrap up here, guys. We got our schedule coming up. Uh, Name each each of y'all name one track or one car that you're really looking forward to in the upcoming schedule.
Oh, I'm ready for that super late model series to start back up and try to go three in a row and add my championship total to four. So yeah, I'm super stoked. I mean, I'm never disappointed by anything that gets ran in loose lug nuts. Everything that I've ran in here, everybody's competitive. I mean, even the car switch ups and everything. It keeps you. It doesn't keep you single minded on one thing. You're not always running one track. You're not always running one car. It helps you, learn every other series that iRacing offers to you, and I'm stoked. I'm ready for the next Friday series to start and see where we go with this whole broadcasting deal on Saturdays.
Yeah, I'm really happy with everything that we have. We're doing road racing, some rally stuff, the trucks, but in particular the late models and the super late models for me. Growing up following late model tours and stuff, it was pretty cool stuff, and being on the short tracks with those things has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, guys. Me in particular, like Wes, I want to beat him on Friday nights. I got a couple wins, so I want to get over the hump and capture a championship. And I'm right now tied with Wes in championships. Nowhere close in wins, but the championship factor. I can't let Wes get ahead of me. So I'm looking forward to that. Like Bob touched on, we got our Wednesday road racing series. Uh, we got Thursday trucks. Friday super late model series. Saturday evening we have late models. Saturday night we have Xfinity cars. All those the Thursday through Saturday stuff will end around the same time, and we'll hopefully open up our schedule for longer series. So uh, with that said, guys, everyone out there in YouTube that's watching right now, everyone that's gonna watch, rewatch, I thank you for tuning in to our first podcast. It's been a great time here talking with these guys, Wes Holland, Bob Wells. Uh, couldn't have done this thing without Mr. Hedrick's help, John Hedrick. Another big shout out I'd like to give is to Rudy Cummings. He got in here and he helped John and I out with this IRTVO program. We're still learning it, guys. We may not be the greatest at it. We're gonna get better at our broadcasting. Uh, it's a transition time, uh, learning this stuff. So bear with us. We'll get better. Uh, we hope to see everyone out here next time we do a podcast or a broadcast. Hopefully we'll get these podcasts up bi-monthly or monthly, whichever time is available for us. But again, I'd like to thank our sponsors for this past season for coming on board with us. RaceGear.com, the Wise Guys, Billy Wise's band there in the Tampa Bay region of Florida, and uh, Mr. John Hedrick himself at Over the Top Paints and Designs. I know Wes and Bob and myself. It's all we run is Over the Top Paints and Designs, the paint shop paints on our cars. So if you need a paint, uh, get on there. I believe I have the link there in the description. Uh, check check out the paints. Get you a good paint. It's always nice to tip your painter, so keep that in mind. But until next time, guys, this is Jeff Wood, Wes Allen, and Bob Wells here at Loose Lugnuts Racing TV, and have a great next upcoming schedule on iRacing. Good night, everyone.